Good evening, everybody. How are we? Is the sound okay? How's everyone's evening? Everyone pop something in the chat, make sure everything's all good. Let's have a look. Yeah, there we go, buzzing. Easy. How we doing, Rob? How we doing, Ad? George, Timmy, how are we? George, you see how you got that little spanner next to your name now? How we doing, Leo? Let's wait for everyone to get in. Vector. Dylan, how you doing, mate? So it's a little bit different when you're doing it on your own because you've got to constantly keep talking. So it's what does that do, George? Does that mean you can just like delete comments and highlight stuff and stuff like that? Is that what the difference is? Like I say, so what we're going to do, we're going to run through a couple stocks. You guys are going to put the ideas in here. We'll have a look at a couple. I'll say how I do my due diligence. How I do it might be different to how everyone else does it, but at least you might be able to learn something and pick something up. Yeah, mate. Had a good weekend, mate. Thank you. It goes too quick, as always. But yeah, it's been decent, to be fair. Yourself? Just waiting for the last few people to come in before we start. Let's give them a couple of minutes. Just make sure the connection's all good still. Yeah, we're all good. Yeah, it's been solid lately, to be fair. Last 3 months has been a bit chaotic, but it's all down to the Discord though. We all work together. Yeah, sound. Well, you will and Brad have got the admins to all that now, so you'll be fine. So that's sound. Yeah, I watched the F1 just to be fair. Nice to see Merc on top. It was good actually. Russell's we got Russell's at here, look, so that's what it's about. Right, to be fair, give everyone a couple minutes now, so let's get into it. So exactly how I break down how I do mine, run for a couple sectors. Of course, obviously I'll spend hours and hours and hours, but we're definitely going to be able to cover exactly what I do without deep diving. So we're going to go stock, CEO, finances, insider info like shareholding, etc. from the insider stuff, news, forward vision, and then how we make a PT from that. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Obviously, a lot of you know about this ebook. If you don't know about this ebook, it is in the description. It's free. It's just everything that I know about what I know I'll put together. So whether it be links, whether it be terms that I didn't understand once upon a time, I've all put it in here. Evening, Ben. How you doing? Ben, you can jump in if you want. If you want to jump in, so I can send you the invite and get you in. You can jump on. Makes it a little bit fuller having two people on. Let me know. Let me know if you want to jump in. I'll send you the invite. Right. So as I was saying, so obviously, even on the metrics side of this, so we're going to have a quick look. Even on the metrics, we've got a valuation cheat sheet here. Not sure how clear this is on the thing, but obviously how to work out the PE, the forward PE, the price to sales, the price to book. Let me just take them real quick. I think yeah, very well actually. Right. So obviously, going to load up the sites that I use. Start running through. Got quite a few people joining now, which is good. So let's have a look. Due diligence tools. Like I say, it's going to be a bit of a raw meal. Hence why I YouTube. Yeah, I thought so. I remember seeing you mention when I come back from football earlier. I seen you'd mentioned that. Obviously, it's a bit more of a raw video because I'm going to be doing due diligence while speaking to you. So obviously, bear with. If you have any questions, everyone pop them in a chat. It's what it's about. Learning together, asking the questions. So we're going to need Simply Wall Street. Going to need Gappy Fin, Yahoo. What else are we going to use? Fiscal AI. Yeah, so we're going to use these for now. So just pull these back into it. Just moving some stuff around on the screen. So like I say, some of the core tools are just simple. You want to use like Yahoo Finance, stuff like that. They're your staples from the get-go. They're literally where you're going to get all your information from. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I just want to show something real quick that I was working on before I came on to stream. Is you can get any site that you want to use, you can really get some bad metrics from it. So for instance, let me just share this screen with you now. Um, stop sharing, share this screen. So the reason being is, well, let me pop this in, is obviously I was looking at SoFi before this, just doing a little bit of, just doing whatever I do. Now, you might see the forward PE is 44.97 here. It's actually incorrect. That's why it's important that you work out your own metrics. The reason why I'm doing that when it switch over here. So they updated the EPS that they reckon that they're going to hit, and they reckon it's going to be 0.31. So when you work it out, it's the revenue, it's the share price which we're at now, which is 25.30, and then you have to divide that by the expected EPS, which is 0.31 that they're expecting. That's what they're guiding for. Actually works out to 81.69, 61. Sorry. So if you was going to use these numbers here, you'd actually be well out on the forward PE. So I think it's sometimes you have to make sure that you're doing your own due diligence with stuff like that, because like I say, those numbers are well out, and you might make a valuation that's not exactly accurate at all. So has anybody got any stock tickers that we want to touch on? I know a lot of people have been looking at RAP, not one I'm really interested in myself. But is there any stock tickers that everyone wants to touch on? Put them in the chat. Is there anything anyone wants to look at? That's what we're here for. So I'd rather take an interest in the ones that you guys are looking at yourselves and then go from there. Is there anything that we want to look at? Ons, man. I can tell you that stuck like the back of my hand. That will be one that we touch on because I know that one a lot. So that just makes my life a lot easier. Iran. A lot of people are loving this one at the moment. I think it's going to get a channel in the Discord after the vote as well. SMCI. Let's get a couple of suggestions and we'll have a look at them. Like I say, you're catching me off guard with these tickers because they're not exactly tickers that I've looked into. So it makes sense to start looking into them. Let me pull up my trading 212 as well so I can have a look at some of these. Archer, grab. Even, man. You got to be doing your own due diligence when you're looking at those waiting for fives and stuff all the time. Just got it here. Let's look at Iran. Let's have a look at that one for now. Let's have a look, see what's going on with that. So let's have a look what the share price is. 50.86. So what you'll notice is I'm probably going to make some notes. Again, the key tools that people need to. We'll have a look at Ondas as well. Yeah, we'll have a look at some of those. So obviously, biggest tool anybody's got is ChatGPT or Grok. I know obviously everybody's purpose. I mean, it's different to what we want to, which each one that you want to use. And obviously, people use Grok, people use ChatGPT. It really depends on exactly which one you prefer. But me personally, ChatGPT, I think it's everybody's best friend as well. I think everybody should be using it, to be honest. So let's have a look at some of this. Right, so we're going to start on the CEO window. Trading 212. So we'll check this one. Right, so first we're going to find out who the CEO is. Like, let's find out exactly who the CEO is. So again, best friend Google. Are you doing a DD? Do you make notes on paper on a document, or do you find the information you find? If I'm honest, normally my due diligence gets on this paper here. So I'm a scribbler. So let me show you exactly how I do mine. And you'll see exactly how I do it. It'll be stuff like this. So literally messy notes. My brain understands it. Messy notes. And then what I will do is I'll put it into like a Word document, or I'll make a sub channel like I did the other day on the Discord, so everybody can sort of see it. But again, sometimes I'll just use a ChatGPT tab. So as you'll see me do it in a minute. So we're gonna obviously find out who the CEO is, and you'll start seeing like because that's what I would have done. I want to Googled it. So it really you just do just to be sure because you might bring up something else. You'll use something like this, and then you've got a whole tab. It'll just start pulling the data. So obviously you start getting the details about them, and then obviously you just ask. So like you then you call yourself a template. You don't use this for everything. You just use this, and you can use it as a tool, and then you've got it all to visit back. So you've got to obviously remember I'm starting to read this at the same time, so you'll have to bear with me while we're looking through it. Let's go back to my page that needed because I've got my own notes on there. First things first, you've got to look at their CEOs. If you've got a CEO in Apple and he's a CEO of Apple, but all he's done all his life is, I don't know, managed a football team, he's not really going to be the same type of person you want at the head of Apple. Like, is it's wonder if you can make a custom GPT that would do a lot of the DD for you. Can you create a GPT on a free version? So I haven't got the free version, but again, ChatGPT and Grok get a lot of stuff wrong. So you can't just ask for these and just do it. You have to feed it a lot of the data and then help it break it down and stuff like that. For instance, when you get the financials, if you don't really understand the revenue year on year, you can use ChatGPT and it'll do the sums for you, for instance. But personally, I wouldn't be using. I mean, I've got the premium, but I don't use it for straight DD and go, should I buy Iran, and then it'll go, yeah, you should buy it. No, I don't agree with that because I mean, I used Grok for something the other day. I can't remember what I asked it to do. I asked it a question. It gave me up, it pulled me up someone's Twitter account, and I was just like, yeah. So that was my experience with Grok, and I pay for the X Premium as well. So obviously, I'm going to be reading this for the time. So if it does go quiet at periods, it's just because we're going through it together. Love to see a proven track record. And next best thing is someone with what you feel is a background with good links for their current role. Yeah, which is exactly that. It's perfect, right? So if you've got someone who's in that company, and I've got, I mean, AST Space Mobile is a great example. That was one of the best CEO written data things because he had built a business in the exact same thing, sold it, then he patented a load of stuff, then made the ASTS. So that was, who else would you want at the helm of something like that? So yeah, perfectly agree. Yeah, deep researcher prompting Grok and GGP help out a lot. Yeah, they do. Massively. I wonder if I could make a perfect. Thanks for question. So, like I said, it's a bit raw. We're going to be going back and forth. So, firstly, let's have a little read. So, founded in 2018. So, it's nice to know that it's 7 years old. So, that would be a note that I'd make. Yeah, I'm going to do that anyway. I might as well do this at the same time. Might end up buying some of the stock at the end of it. Scott will love that. I actually talk to myself when I do my due diligence as well. So perfect thumbnail for that. How you doing, Joe? You're right, mates. We're just getting into it anyway. We're going to look at IRN first. So we're just looking at the CEOs. So like obviously they're a crypto data center business. Now a lot of them crypto data, now the crypto mining businesses are actually coming over to data centers now. A lot of that's happening. So it's good to pay attention to. So that's another good piece of key information there. Look, so they're brothers. That's always good. If I wanted to run a company with someone, I'd probably run one with my brother, to be honest. Brad would be a great partner on there. There we go. Look, so they've made some significant share sales, for example, which we'll end up finding this anyway. Each sold 1 million shares recently as part of a victory lap when the stock was performing well. But again, we don't know if that's true. That's something that's sourcing, so we'll have a look into that. So make a because that's a lot of shares. So that's a lot of money to take out of the business. So or dilute, I guess, into the business because you're putting more shares back into open market. Here we go. So mid 2025, it was reported that Will Roberts is facing a federal court date over a summons related to a subsidiary of IRN in British Columbia that defaulted on a loan. So money problems, best to always something to look for. It's always about reading between the lines as well with stuff like this. You've got to obviously find all the details. Then you've got to fact check it, obviously. Don't want to check GPT. No, so that's quite good. Like I say, we've got some good details from there. Found out that. So now we're going to start looking at CEOs. Does it sound bad? No, you've got family-run business. Effectively, the company's been open for 7 years now. That's good. They're brothers. They have currently sold 1 million shares each. But wouldn't you if you'd hit a certain milestone, you trim on your stocks, which you do. So not end of the world. But the money problem one, where they're defaulted on something, that's one to definitely keep a note on. Of course, let's fold my sheet. Yeah. So that's definitely one I want to keep an eye on. Right. So next thing they're going to look at, they're going to start looking at the financials. So let's get rid of these SOFA ones. Get rid of this. I'm just sharing the whole window so you get to see it. So I'm going to go Yahoo Finance next. And we're going to open up Finviz as well. Oh, great. So like I said to you before, you always want to constantly double check all of these figures to make sure they're right. Now you'll see it, there's no PE. Now people will go, well, how do you work that out? What that means is the business isn't profitable yet. So that's a big thing that you want to watch out for. Obviously, you need to work that out. The forward PE is 43.06, it says here. Price to sales is 37.26. We'll touch through these terms in a second. We'll reading them out. Price to book 7.91. Debt to equity 0. That's good. That's something I always look for, but we're going to have a look into that now. So first things first, what you want to do as well is pull up their latest. Yes, this is what I want. Perfect. So what I'm looking at in a minute. Right, so let's have a look at the financials. Like I said, it is going to be a bit of a raw video where you find me talking to myself. Like I say, keep talking out in the chat as well. Keep throwing ideas, asking questions. Is there something you want to look at? Is there a metric you don't understand? Is you know what I mean? Ask those questions. Don't just lurk there. Try and ask. Involve yourself in it as well. So, George, if you want to try and get those comments as well, mate, so we know what's going on. That's fine. So, first things first, what I like to do is I like to see how many shares are outstanding as well, which I believe is in the statistics tab. Yep, shares outstanding. So 272 million shares outstanding. So 272 million. Obviously, you have to ask yourself, is that a lot of shares to yourself? Because then you have to, in my opinion, obviously we haven't got down there yet. Easy, gents. Me personally, yet I haven't got to the point where I think Iran are going to do dilutions down the line. What does shares outstanding mean? Okay, so that's total shares that the company has issued. So that's like their whole market share value. So obviously, if the CEO owned 250 million shares, that's a lot of insider shares. But that's so if they dilute and they raise an offering, more shares, which means that the investor gets diluted. So the more and more shares that there is in open market, the worse and worse that an investor is. But that's why you do share buybacks and stuff, so they buy back more of their shares. You can front load it with saying all stuff you're interested in with a CEO. So the next time you ask it about a CEO, knows the type of things you're interested in. To be fair, my chat GPT's like this anyway. It builds a personality. So obviously mine's been filled with a shed ton of data, and like I say, now it's got. I've been on one fast catching up. Well, how you doing, Will? So like, yeah, so mine's got its own personality anyway. Will, you'll notice as well that you've got the little spanner thing now. I think you can do stuff with messages and stuff. So if you enjoyed one, I'll just keep on that. Sound. What else? What do you use? Peg ratio is a big factor when looking at finances. No, not really. That's something I'm going to touch on some of that. I don't necessarily know. I think I like to say I use different metrics what I'm looking for, but again, it doesn't mean that it's the wrong thing to look for. Ollie. It just means like everyone does it different, which is what I was saying. So we've got the shares outstanding anyway. Let's have a look at some of the other stuff. Where has it got at? So when mine starts wandering. Financials. So for me, the first thing I like to look at when I'm doing financials is debt ratio, which is total liabilities divided by total assets, which you will find on. Oh, my computer wants to catch up. That's sad. But let's have a look. Yeah, so as I was saying, it's total assets divided by total liabilities divided by total assets. So where's my phone gone? So I've got 1.1. So we've got 1.122835. 1122.835. Divide that by 2940. 323. So their debt ratio is 0.38. I don't know if you can see it on there. Yeah, so it's 0.38. That's actually really good. But like I was saying before, if you look on here, their debt ratio says 0, means they've got no debt. And this is why it's important to use sites, but then go and do. Can you go to Legend, George Legend? What do you think of Penguin? Not sure. It's not that much. Yeah, so we'll touch on some other stocks in a minute. We're just working on this one at the moment. So, like I say, the debt ratio there says it's got 0 debt. Well, clearly it has, but 0.38 is pretty good. It works on a metric up to 1. So, obviously, if it's 1, it means it's got just as much debt as it has liabilities, which isn't what you want because it means it's debt reliant. And then, obviously, the lower the ratio, the better. It means that the more that they're not debt reliant. So, 0.381, 0.38 is really good. So, debt. So for me, that's good, debt ratio. So let's have a look at the revenue next, see what's happening with the revenue. For me, like I say, that's good. So income statement, revenue, you want to have a look that it's growing every single year. And obviously it's growing loads. And in 2025, it's growing a lot recently. I want to have a look at their presentation and I want to have a look at their guidance. So highlights that. Well, there you go. Look, so in the last Q2, so Q3 becoming the revenue's up by 168%. The adjusted EBIT is up by 395%. EBIT is up by 1,340. To be fair, it's flying in it. Operating data. This is a big thing. Now, I don't know exactly how big this is. I'm not a professional on the milliwatts or microwatts or whatever it is. I know Nebius does a lot. In business, I don't use it as the same way as I use LLM. Use it so much. I'll say so. Check your mind takeaways. Yeah. I don't think Iron is, but we'll have a look. We're going to find out in a sec. So we're going to find that out. If it was profitable, it would have a PE, but we'll have a look in a sec. Like I say, it's new stock to me, so I'd do my due diligence exactly how we'd grow it. So we're going through it together. Looking for the growth outlook. So again, this is where you would look for your forward vision. This is how you make your price targets, because obviously you take all this in, and if it goes right, well, we're opening up. We're opening up, let's say, 3 new sites. That's exciting. That means we're going to get more news coming out about it. But let's have a look for the guidance. Q4 full year 25. Oh, that's how you'll know EPS as well on here. So if you got analysts. Yeah, to me that says there. Look where the average. That does say to me that it's profitable as well. When you're looking at the average estimates for the EPS, it says there 0.13. So, and then current quarter September says there. So that to me, there you go. That's what I'm saying. This is exactly why it's important to fact check everything. How do you pick growth stocks that are unprofitable? How do you analyze factors that suggest it will become profitable in the near future? That's what we're going to look at in a sec. To be fair, we'll have a look at that on. We'll go to ones because it's easy for me to understand that one as well. I can actually just feed you the information because I know that one. So that's what I mean about these sites here, because this is Finviz is a mint site class, but clearly the data is behind because it's saying it's non-profitable, etc. And it's also saying, look, trailing 12 months. EPS next year, does think it's going to, but it's saying that it's unprofitable. So that's why it's important you get all of your financial data. So we're looking at I wanted to find the guidance on it, but I don't think. Data sentence update. To be fair, this presentation actually looks really decent. I'm probably going to have a look at this proper after. So it's got all of that Q4. Yeah, so like I said, I have to have a proper look through it to find where that guidance is. Like I said, I don't understand this stock as much. Just trying to find it on a quick one. No. So I'd have to find out the guidances and see where they're going in the future. And then, so obviously, now we're looking at insider information. So now you want to start looking, like you say, we know that they guys have sold some of their shares off. Simply Wall Street is great for looking at insider buying and stuff like that. Oh, let me just shut this down real quick. Get rid of that one. Considering a company's profitable until it posts 10K net profit. Yeah, that's a good fact as well. Oh, tell that because I've probably used my free on here already. So let me just log into my profile on my other one. Let's go on this one. So I'm just pulling it up on another profile. You only get so many uses a year, a day or a week. So just have a look on this one there. No, I can't get into it unless I log into my other account. Upload the PDF to ChatGPT and ask it. Not now, just a tip if you can upload docs to ChatGPT. Yeah, no, I do. I'd like to say I know that there's a lot of sites that you can do that with. It's just you've got to be dead careful with how much information you're actually taking from these LLMs because they're just some of it's just not accurate. And if you make a decision based on that, it's not going to be the best, is it? So, let's have a look at this. Yeah, so then I want to look at the insider sharing, but I need to get into one of my other accounts because clearly I've used. No. Right, so I'll move on from that one anyway. So then you have to look at the forward vision, like I said, was on the God, that's made my head foggle now. It's hard to do this on the spot. So now you'd start looking through the presentation. This is the biggest thing that you can look at to make a forward vision and a price target. You want to deep dive into this. This is where you're going to get your vision from for what's going next. It's literally self-explanatory. You start looking through them, start making up where you're at, where they're going in the future, stuff like that. It's going to help you out loads by evaluating a company. It's quite simple. So I'm trying to pay attention to the chat as well. But that's what I mean. So you want to really, really read through all this and make sure you're up to date with it. And this is where the time comes into it. This is where you say, obviously, you can't just sit there for 10 minutes and make an evaluation on the stock. This is where the time comes into it. You're gonna have to sit there, cipher through all the data, and then make your price target based on that. So we're going to move on to Ondas after this one because it's easy for me to evaluate that company on the spot to give you guys more information about it. So let's load up some of the stuff for that. So while we do that, just load up this. Oh, let's remove that. All right, let's load up some of this Ondas data. Ondas. Right, so this one, yeah. So we see here we've got no PE, no forward PE, no PEG. Price to sales is through the roof. Price to book is through the roof. This one's going to be a lot easier. So the price to earnings for trailing 12 months ain't going to matter because the EPS, sorry, the PE ratio, it's not profitable. So we can ignore that. So we're looking at forward PE. So you're looking at the share price divided by the expected EPS. So let's find the expected EPS of Ondas. Analysts. Right, so they expect it to still be negative by, see how it's coming down. stuff like that. So again, sort of forward PE, you ain't gonna be able to make one because they're not expecting to be profitable. Now, because I know this company, I know that by the end of next year, they are planning on being profitable. So the second half of 26, they expect this company to be profitable, which is why everyone is raving about it a lot as well. Like I say, guys, is there any questions that you want to understand or anything that you're doing? Like I'm trying to obviously run through how I do my due diligence and stuff, but it's a bit hard, obviously, when I'm trying to interact with this. So is there any questions of any metrics that you don't understand or anything? Pop them in the chat so we can explain them to you. It's the whole point of it, so we can ask and people can learn from it. So obviously next you have to do price to sales on this. So you see how the price to sales is 197.18. That's a lot. That's really high, and that's market cap divided by revenue. So yeah, to get the revenue up. So let's pull up the latest earnings release. Nope, that's not it. Quarterly reports. Thank you. Where is their presentation? There we go. So we're trying to pull up the revenue. So their revenue was 6.273 million. Shouldn't know that, to be fair, we know it all the time. So price of sales is market cap dividend. So the market cap at the moment is market cap 3.2 billion. And again, if you do, this is where you can use ChatGPT if you feel like you're slacking with it. So then we go 3.2 billion divided by 6.3. You can round it off at. So now that's giving you a price to, where the thing is 507.94. Now, when you pull back up and you go back to the metrics that are made on this here for you. Let me go back to this valuation cheat sheet. Price to sales, anything below 1 is classed as cheap. Anything from 1 to 3 is fair. Anything from 3 to 10 is growth. And anything from 10 plus is very pricey. It's nearly 500. Yeah, so obviously now you're looking at that's extremely overvalued, but it is for what it is because obviously the stock prices ran up like crazy. It was 3-4 months ago. More prices, so Joe. So yeah, that's so obviously Joel the pro. Let's have a look. So I'm just reading through some. No, don't have Yahoo Pro Premium. I don't really think it's worth paying for. I think it's really expensive for the extra details that you get. So you wouldn't necessarily, I know you're asking for somebody else, you wouldn't make a PT off the financials alone. You would do it off the presentation, where they're going forward, because the financials don't exactly say where it's going to be going forward. It just says where it's at now or where it's been performing at. Obviously, the presentation earnings is going to show you what they're growing into, what the plans coming up to, what land they want to acquire, what acquisitions they're having of the business, how they're buying new arms, etc. So that's where you're going to start getting your predictions from with that. You won't really necessarily do it off the financials, but the financials indicate that the company's going in the right way. That's what's important about the financials. So the price to sales, Joel, why it's important. So obviously it's important because it's showing you that obviously how much you're paying for that, but like I say, how much over you're paying that you're doing it. So obviously if it's 500, I'd like to show it here. So let me see if I can share this screen. Let me show you my screen real quick. And this is what I was on about with the grid that I made in the ebook and why it's here. So price to sales here, the market cap's 1 billion, and obviously the revenue is 200 million equals 5. So obviously, because you're paying 5 times the revenue into the market cap. So obviously, these are metrics you have to use once the EPS isn't available. Whenever companies are making money, you don't want to be overpaying something. So obviously, 10 plus is very pricey. Like I say, you want to. Let me just pull that up again and work out some. Um, Boys day up. Yeah, 507.9. I just wanted to make sure that was right. Yeah, so obviously that's extremely, extremely overpaid. You're overpaying for it. So, but then you, like I say, so if you simply go off, so we'll come back to that. So from the financial perspective of last earnings, Jake, it's saying it's overvalued. But this is why financials mean part of it. But then looking at their earnings report and learning the news and learning what's going on in the company make it better. You got to remember these earnings from when these were taken in Q2, obviously the revenue, etc., doesn't factor in what we know about Ondas. Now, what do we know about Ondas? We know that they've acquired nearly 5 businesses or partnerships since that Q2. We know they've had 2 dilutions since then to raise the capital for that. We know that within Q3 and Q4, that's going to be coming out in these earnings. We've we got Ondas Capital. We also know all of the exhibitions and events that they've been going to since Q2. What else do we know? We know that Eric is the GOAT. We know he's the best CEO about. We know James Acuna is absolutely working his ass off. He's doing everything possible for the Ondas Capital. So we know all these things. So then you have to then think, this is why financials matter. But then, so if you just look at that one metric, you go, whoa, I'm well overpaying. Now, obviously, you've got to remember this stock has run from 2 to, let's have a look at the 3 month. Let's have a look at the chart. So when we look at the chart for Ondas in the last 3 months, you have to remember from when last. That's why I said 3 months from when last earnings was. You have to remember we've gone since 3 months. We've gone from 175 in July to 999 in October. So it's really ran a lot, hasn't it, from when it was. So the price of sales is obviously going to be a lot different now. Then you have to ask yourself, why is everybody buying? Is everybody buying because it's hype? Is everybody buying because they're factoring the news? Are they buying because now you need to understand from that as well, who's actually buying? Is it heavily retail? Obviously, my Simply Wall Street isn't out working, so I can't really show it. Is it heavy retail? Is it heavy institutions and funds and stuff like that? Who's actually buying? So obviously from the 13Fs on the back end of Q2, we know a lot of institutions were buying up. And from my Webull, I was looking on Friday by close that more institutions bought and a little bit of retail sold out, which was obvious. It hit 10. I sold 1,000 shares myself. Oh, there you go. You can see this is one of my lots. I've got 8,500 shares still. Obviously, I sold 1,500 off the GIA, 500 off the ISA. So that's why you have to factor in the price of sales. That's not even all of it. Then you have to start looking at the other stuff as well. So let me just have a look at some of these comments. Why wouldn't you sell if it's not profitable? Surely on earnings. See, this is the mindset that you can't really have. Why wouldn't you sell if it's not profitable? Surely on earnings will go down. Why? Who says it's going to go down? Why does it have to go down if it's not profitable? As long as it's going towards the guidance and it's catching up with the guidance that they set. Remember, they set the guidance on Q2 for what they expect for the full year. Now, if we go into Q3 earnings and they update the full year guidance, obviously that's going to make the stock go up. If they announce green UAS, which obviously makes them eligible for army contracts, etc., that's gonna boost it. We get more sales coming in. That's why this isn't necessarily true, in my opinion. So, and then again, this is time in the market, not time in the market. If you're just going to rebuy in when you cut it down. So let me put it on another perspective for you, Aidan. So let's say, for instance, you sell 10,000 shares. You made some good money because you think it's dropping to 8. Earnings come out and it goes to 18. Was it worth it? Or was it smarter to trim down a smaller position because you knew it was there and obviously then follow it. That's why it's different between investing and trading, in my opinion, but my opinion only. Dip then sell at top. Surely you can play that game. Again, like I say, we don't know that this is the top. I mean, would you have thought that the top was last Wednesday at 7? Would you thought it was 11th September at 6:42? We're talking in 3 months, 440% growth. So where would you have said the top was? Would you have said the top was 100%, 200%, 300%, 400%? What's stopping this going to 600% next week? You can't really say you know when the top's going to be. Is this where tech multiples come in on all tech stocks horrendously overvalued if using traditional methods? Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like you say, at the moment, from the way that you'd look at it, you could say this was an overvalued stock. I think it's fair to say that from an outside perspective, but being an insider, like the insider investor of knowing everything that we know and the amount of due diligence, and I don't necessarily. I mean, we've been buying this at 9, so would we really think it was overpriced? A lot of us are doing that. Let's look at future growth then, basically. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. You're trying to look forward. Obviously, if this was profitable, which it will be next year, you can start looking at forward PE then. Because, I mean, that's what you look at when you look at Palantir. So, obviously, Palantir is always a great example because it's so overvalued. It's so overvalued, so they say. I added 9 on Friday. Yeah, see, look, like Joel said, I added at 9 on Friday. So did I. I've been buying this at 2 and I was still buying... I mean, I've lost track of thought where we even was now. We're just talking about Ondas, but I mean, when you start looking at stuff like this, so I want to find where that is. Partner with Claire with support non-dilutive working capital funding our future. Literally, it's just partnership after partnership. Where was? And this is another thing what people don't talk about. This is a massive thing that people don't talk about. When people talk about Ondas and people talk about it, I'm glad we got on this subject. It's just drones. It's all here. Drones. That's all you ever hear. What about the network? What about the $1 billion TAM that it's got? What about that? People aren't even talking about that. Let know. So we're going into next year, because if anybody watched the interview with Eric, if you take reading between the lines and do it, he said 6 to 12 months is going to be a huge thing, because obviously it's not a want, it's a need. So obviously, if they need it, 6 to 12 months, this is going to start getting factored in. Now, I know people were actually snipping that on the video. They were snipping it, and they were putting it, like, obviously doing the snippets and stuff. So people aren't even factoring that in. So when you factor in the network, the drones, obviously you've got the wasps as well, which is actually the army type drones. When you factor all this in, you've got like a one-stop shop for it all. Would you look into analyst recommendations and PDs, or would you make your own valuation compared to this? I'm honest, nah. Analysts are just, they've got no good intention for you. You got to remember, look at SoFi, for instance. It's a great, why I don't like analysts' predictions. You can look at them and stuff, but why does it matter? They're just like me and you. So what benefit do they give that you don't do? They're just literally human people. Now, obviously, when you look at SoFi, for instance, they keep downgrading it, keep giving it negative news and downgrading it. Why? Why are we talking bad on it? Because it's literally flying. But obviously, sometimes if they miss the boat, they like to drag it down. And also banking stocks, they don't like to pick them up either, because others don't like to. So necessarily analysts, I mean, no, not really. I like to look at 13Fs and stuff instead, but that's coming from actual investors and stuff, so it's a little bit different. Pick a random stock, go into the trading view, zoom in and scroll to the past, and you can back test yourself. See how often you're buying and dips into the top right. Yeah, Jordan, you bang on there. I'm going to share that one there. Like when you start doing the back testing, you look at it, people who actually time the market. I've seen a crazy statistic, I'd have to find it. 85% of the people that invest in the stock market lose money. And I think it's because they do stuff like this. Investing, people seem to forget. And this is why I did a check sheet, which we've got, so I'll find that show. If you're not prepared to hold a stock for 5 to 10 years on a long investment, don't get me wrong, we can swing trade some stocks a couple of years and stuff like that. It's fair enough. But obviously, if you don't think you're going to hold it for years, even if you don't feel like you could hold it for years, you're not holding the right stock. And like I say, I see people talking about a lot of these penny stocks, and the small caps are moving at the moment. The small caps are moving better than the mega caps and the large caps. But personally, you've got to be able to hold it for a long time. Yeah, it makes sense. How do you know if the price target is reasonable? Well, let me ask you this. For instance, mine for Ondas was 8. My PT was 8 for this. I'm still in. Look where it is. You've got to be realistic, but you've got to be ambitious at the same time. Let me show you Nebius. Nebius is another great one. I actually did a video on this on my channel, so there's actually a video proof of my PT on it. I was buying this stock at 20. So let me drop it back here. I was buying it here, down here, right down here. Fantastic. One of the lads in the server actually flagged it to us. So obviously we did some due diligence and I liked it. Started buying it here. Started buying it at 40, carried on buying it at 50, bought it at 80, bought it at 90. I did a video on this a few months back, 2 videos actually, saying that by the end of the year this would be at 80. So to 80 to 100 was the bull case. I mean, I was obviously cut short a little bit, but it's at 120. Now, take away the Microsoft deal, just going off the earnings, it was already going to exactly where I said it was going to go. But that's how your price target. But that came from due diligence. I think on Nebius, I must have spent 15 hours making the one video, probably about another 8 hours making the other one. It was stupid how long it takes to make YouTube videos sometimes. So going through all that, plus, can you get a big screen on there? Go on, Chris. I love that. So when you're looking at those metrics of time that I put in, it's paid off. And I mean, now we're up 163%. So your price targets, how do you know if your price targets are reasonable? They can be anything, can't they, really? Because, I mean, we're looking at SoFi. So obviously that's my fingered one there. So we'll look at SoFi. I was buying this at 18, I think. 1857. Yeah, so I was buying it around here, I think. No, I was buying it earlier than that. It was up here. There we go, sorry. Buying it there. It was like 18. And then it started dropping off. So I carried on buying all the way down to here. And now it's all the way up here. And again, we're up 82% on that one. I don't really want to buy anymore. I bought one the other day for a laugh. But so like I say, your price targets are what you think. And just because if you make a price target, don't mean that you're wrong. It don't, like, that's what you have to have with on that. So I think I was 8. I think. So look. Make sure that's right. Oh, yeah, check that out. Confused. Yeah, that's fine. So I think my price target was 8. I think Beast had a price target of 40. I think some of the other lads had price targets of 15. We're never gonna, just because you're not, it's actually better to be different to other people. If you've all got the same price target, it's a problem. So yeah. That's why we want to get you monetized. Would you be able to explain how you would set realistic PT, please? So yeah, so like I say, Joel, it literally goes through those things that I would look at. It's a bit hard to do it straight from a stream. I've sort of realised that it's going to take well too much to do it and try and interact at the same time. First things first, I pick a stock. On Das PT, 20 is my next PT. I will end up trimming some at 15, and then I will probably reevaluate at 20, maybe trim some more there. But yeah, so we'll run through these. We'll do Joel's first. Realistic PT. So obviously, realistically, like I say, I'll pick the stock. I look at the CEO, for instance. I mean, this one's a great one to use an example. I'll use this for an example for you. This stock, 67. I don't even realize it was that high. Wow, flying. Wow, that's actually crazy. That's quite a surprise. I thought it was like 50 or something. That's how much I don't pay attention to it, because this is where the long-term vision comes into it. So obviously, I started buying this stock in the 30s, bought it up. Now, AST, you might go, I'm going to tell you that my price target on this is 150 to 200, and you're going to go, oh my God, how have you got to that? Now, the difference is, this is how you have to do it. CEO, learn the CEO like he's your best friend. You've got to know everything about them. You've got to know when their birthdays are. You've got to know where they started, colleges did they go to. And I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but it's all available on Wikipedia and everything. So 100 for SoFi. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna just throw that up real quick. My PT for SoFi was 35. When it gets there, I'm going to reevaluate, because I do think it'll go higher. Ben's is 100. Look at the sheer difference. Does that mean Ben's wrong or stupid? Absolutely not. Does it mean I'm wrong or under stupid? No, it just means that we both see something different, which is fine. So yeah, like I said, I get distracted. Sorry, Joel. So realistic PT, you're looking at the CEO. You want to learn everything about them, everything. So if they're like a guru, what they do, you can have. I mean, like I say, the AST CEO he's got a really obviously strange name, but fantastic for what he does. Half of the stuff's patterns, so people can't even copy it. So if they wanted, I've got to purchase it from him. That is secured. It's so good. He's secured it mintly. Finances matter, obviously, as long as we're moving in the right direction. It's a sprint, not a marathon. It's a marathon, sorry, not a sprint. As long as you're moving in the right direction, that's a good thing. As long as we're getting towards where we are, as long as we're not falling behind on EPSs every quarter, that's what we're looking at. insider info. We want people buying shares on the inside. We want people buying shares. You don't want to see mass loads of selling shares. If they're selling shares, why they're selling shares? Everyone's selling shares. Well, you're going to want to buy them. So that never looks good. News. Look at everything. News, acquisitions, partnerships, possible dilutions. Again, dilutions aren't bad if we're using them in the right way. You want to look at everything, and you want to look at the forward vision. Have a look onto their presentation reports. Have a look where they're trying to go for the future. What are they investing in? How much are they doing? What's their annual run rate that they're trying to get to? And then make your PT from there. I mean, like I say, my Ondas was 2 and a price target was 8. So that's 4 times 4. Obviously, we've gone well past that now. So then you do have to keep reevaluating. But it is good because it means you sort of are evaluating your stocks right. And like I say, it comes with time, man. It comes with a lot of time of sitting there reading it. But you just get a feel for it. And you can use ChatGPT for it as well. Like I say, you feed it all the information and go, what's a realistic price target on this? And obviously, it'll analyze all the information you got. I mean, I don't personally do that, but and then you can think of where you was and then see how far you was off. And if you're quite close, you can go, actually, I was quite in the money there. I hope that helps a little bit, mate. Just want to get you monetized. What we thinking with SoFi? SoFi is good, man. I love all the, when something's good, when people are trying to beat it down all the time and all the false data that's coming out and everything, it's amusing, man. I see Tanner, I think he's very passionate about SoFi. Seen his video the other night, it makes me laugh. But it's good to see passion. But yeah, I think people are just hating like the banks and that just don't want to see it do well. So it is what it is. Anything big expected from Ondas tomorrow? I missed a lot of the DC not being on today. I mean, we're always expecting good stuff every day. We do a poll on that every day to see if there's good stuff coming in. But yeah, it'd be nice. Ondas PT, like I say, mine's 20 on this. Like I say, I will trim more at 50. I trimmed 1,000 shares at 10. Probably trim another 2K shares at 15. Probably trim another 5K at 20 and then let the rest run. It's just one of them. Like I say, when we get to 20, we're talking, I think it was something like 240 grand off a stock because of what it was. It's something daft like that. I can't remember what it was. How many shares I got like 12,000 shares across both. I can't remember, but yeah, it's crazy. Why do you trim if you believe in it? Because you can't marry a stock. That's a massive no-no. Do not marry your stocks. Imagine if you'd have bought, here we go. This is exactly why you don't marry stocks. What are you in a stock for? You're in it to make money. If it grows by 1%, then you don't need to sell instantly. But Intel's a great example. In 2018, I paid 54 for Intel. I lost money. If we write it right back to 2016, it doesn't go all the way back on here, I don't think. Here it does. Oh, no, it doesn't show you. Let's have a look on Yahoo real quick. Intel. Let me show you on here real quick. Share this tab. Right, so if we look at forever on Intel, in 1990, you was buying this stock. I mean, it's gone up to 36 now, so it's a bit hard to say. But if you were buying this stock here in 1997 for 22, but you believe in the stock, you believe it's going to go to 100, right? And you never trimmed anything. You didn't trim here when it went to 72 in 2000. You didn't trim here or here or here. And you kept holding because you believe in it. It's going to 100. That's what you wanted. Your price target was 100. And in 2025, you went back down to 18. You know what I mean? That's why it's important to trim. If you start making profit, you don't need to sell it all straight away because of that. If you've got a price target of 50, stock starts at 10, you trim a little bit across the way. Take your profits. Don't get greedy. Never get greedy. And enjoy it for what it is. Enjoy your reaps of your reward. Go on, when is Eric's birthday? I generally actually know it, but I'm not going to show it. Anthony Netto's favourite colour is blue. There we go. Will knows his due diligence. Look, been looking into it. Will loves the blue heart. Light blue. Yeah. Brad's here as well. Evening, Brad. Great explanation, mate. Thank you. No worries, Joel. I hope it would help. Hoping to not get FOMO and how not to get FOMO into different exciting stocks. That's really hard, man, and I don't understand it. If I'm honest with you and stuff like that, I'll see some of the stocks for a lot of people, and a lot of people will share their stocks like SoFi. They'll share, for instance, that's I found most of the stocks that I own from seeing it on Twitter, the Discord group. But I don't just see the stock and go, everyone's buying it, I'm buying it. I could have done that with Iran at 30, to be honest. Scott was banging on about it. Loads of people were banging on about it. Rap was being banged on about at 165. What else we on? BMNR, Derpy and Will and people were talking about it at 40s, I think it was. You can FOMO into all these because people are talking about it. But one of the things I think that people should do is if you've got to be interested in the sector. I hate healthcare, so I didn't invest in Oscar. Not because of just hate healthcare. I just don't like the sector, but I love finance and I love AI and stuff like that. So I put myself into them. AST Space Mobile, it's one of them, mate. It's going to change the game with satellites, with mobile phones. So I buy into that one because I've got faith in that one massively. So yeah, heads not to get FOMO. Just I don't know, do due diligence, man. And if it's exciting, get into it. Just because of somebody else says something about the stock, by the way, doesn't mean that you shouldn't buy it. Just go and look into it yourself and spend some time looking into it. And if you feel the exact same way that they did, and you see what they said, and there's no problem buying in it. I just think it's bad when people get lazy and they just see someone buy into something because of how much they've got, or someone's got a following of certain size, or like I say, that like for instance, the Amit or something like that, and you just blind buy into it. I just think it's lazy, and I think eventually you get burnt, and you deserve to get burnt to learn the lesson of not doing it. I've had another 10 points to kill me. Oh, Brad, I have a sore head at work tomorrow. This is why the NHS is terrible, Brad. It's you, mate. It's on you. AST PT, I'm looking 150 to 200 personally. It's 2028. I think that will happen. I'm in no rush to sell it and no rush to build a massive holding in it. I just buy some shares every blue moon when I can be bothered, and I forget about it. I'm just, like I say to you, you've seen the stock price. I generally don't pay attention to it. If I don't plan to sell it for a long time, why does it matter? It literally is so volatile, it's unreal. Look at it. It's all over the shop. But that's because it literally moves like Tesla. It literally moves like Tesla. So it literally it's growing off of what it's going to do in the future, not what it's doing now. So I buy shares when it drops. I buy shares when it goes up. I bought 140 shares. I plan to have 500 by 2028. But we'll see how it is. I'm in no rush to build out a massive position in it. What stocks do you think is a good price at the moment? Every stock. I'm joking. But I don't know, it's hard really to say what's a good price, because what's a good price to you, and this is where we have to go back into the depths of, like, when you like say looking at your SoFi. SoFi was 2018, whatever, then dropped, then come back up. I was buying at 18, I was buying at 12, I was buying at 8. So the problem is dollar cost averaging comes into everything. When you're saying what's a good price, it's hard really to look at it, because I still think Ondas is a good price, but according to the metrics, it's overvalued. But I'm still was buying it. I've stopped buying it now. I need to stop buying it. I've got an unhealthy addiction with buying it. I love it. What other stocks have we got that's in the portfolio? PayPal. I like PayPal actually. I think it's a good price. I think PayPal. Will, I know you'll love this one. Yeah, I think PayPal's a really good price, to be fair. I've been buying into this. It gets a lot of hype. I think it's going to be a good grower in the future. I see this at 100 plus by next year. 120 is my PT on it. Me and Derp are carrying the flag with this one in the Discord. So the unlikely duo. So once it hits M2, sorry, I don't understand that much. Evening. So once it hits my PT, I should try. Oh, sorry. So you have to reevaluate every time it gets to the PT. So if you've got a stock that's 2 and your PT's 5, and it's hit 5, but loads of exciting stuff's come out, well, it's your PT was a little short. So maybe take some profit at 5 and then let some more run, or take a lot of it at 5 and walk away. And it doesn't matter if it runs to 20. You set your price target, you made some money, you hit the target you wanted to hit. So why worry about it? I bought Palantir at 70, sold it at 120. I don't even want to look at the stock. It's at 160, 170 or something. I don't know. Doesn't bother me. What can I control? It's almost like not putting a lot of numbers on that you'd pick and then checking after to see if you won. It's pointless. Just set your price targets. Don't worry about anybody else's problems. Like, what do you think about cipher mining? I don't know about all these too much, to be fair. Beast is the one for this. He's all into his rare metals, minings, all that type of stuff. I'm actually trying to learn it because we probably all should, because it's probably going to be the next best thing. Minings and stuff like that. It's going well. Trump bought one the other night, didn't he? So yeah, I think it's the next best thing, but I don't know too much about it. Any stocks you've been looking at recently which you think you're going to invest into? So the one that I've been looking at, and I don't advise anybody gets into it yet because it's got a lot of problems. So if I'm honest, if you want to look at my watch list, actually, you'll see it's quite heavy. I'm waiting for a bit of Q3 earnings on some stuff. I want to see what's growth dividend watch list, growth watch list, even stiff watch list, promising stocks. So I was looking at this necklace the other day. Don't advise anyone to go buy it at the moment, to be honest. I'll look at the state of the chart. But it's looking promising if they can do what they were trying to do and what they've put into play, what they're trying to. But the financials are really questionable. I didn't really like which way the stock's going at the moment. I think it's been heavily pushed at the moment by a guy on Twitter that owns like 5% of the company. I know a few of the guys bought in. I don't think it's a terrible stock. I think it's very risky at the moment, but it is one I've got on my watch list. Again, guys, any comments? If there's any of these metrics that you want to learn or you wanted to ask, that's what we're here for, to do due diligence of what they're doing. I'm trying to go over what I'm on, but it matters what you guys actually care about. What do you want to look into? You said you already sold the stock for 5 years, but you also said you shouldn't marry a stock. So when do you know to sell? Like I say, price targets. So obviously, when you buy a stock, it doesn't mean you have to own it for 5 years or 10 years. It just means that you should feel that you'd be comfortable enough to own it for 5 to 10 years. If you look at the stock and you go, oh, like Nicholas, for instance, where if I was to buy that now because it was a thing, I'll be swing trading it. So I don't. That's why I haven't bought it. I've put it on my watch list. I'm looking at Q3 earnings, and then I'm going to make a decision after. I don't have faith in it. So at the moment, so I won't buy it. So when do you know to sell? Obviously, set your price target. Obviously, trim down on your price target. But knowing when to sell is literally down to you, because you might extend that price target, you might not. Like I say, realistically, you want to hold stocks as long as you can. So, like I say, for instance, you're looking at your Nvidias and stuff like that. If you would have sold out of Nvidia when your price target was too low, I mean, look at the way it ran over since what, 2019, 2020, and obviously 2022, 2023, it started to pick up momentum, 24, and then it dropped off hugely here. So if people would have panic sold there, or do you know what I mean, or something like that, you're missing out on all these gains. So that's why I think your price targets and just trim out of it effectively. That's in my opinion. The way not to get FOMO is to have a lot of conviction in what you're already doing. Facts. Conviction is absolutely everything. Emotions, you've got to remove out the case. Like I say, we see stocks go up and down. And I did my portfolio update the other day on a bad day on purpose. Let me see if I can find it. The chart's a bit weirder on here. Like I said, the 2nd of October, we started to, here we go, look. On the 1st of October, I lost 2.5 grand on my portfolio, started dragging it back. But like I say, you only have to look after over the last month. Over the last month, because I've got conviction in the stocks I'm in. I made £43,000 nearly. That's crazy. I haven't made that a year at work, let alone and some of that. So, like I say, conviction is everything. It's good. If you don't got conviction, like I say, I'm just going to drop to 7 tomorrow, and I still won't panic. I know it's going to get to where it needs to in the future if they keep doing what they're going to do. And you can't always be right, but obviously, conviction is a big thing that you want to have. And if you don't or can't reassess, yep, agreed. Like I say, if you can't have your conviction in your stocks, you gotta look, why haven't you got it? And this is why people ask stupid questions sometimes, because they've got no conviction in the stocks they hold. I have an honest addiction. I haven't married the stock. To be honest, I know what you're saying about marrying the stock. Obviously, you should have emotions with it, but obviously, I've got a lot. I think, like I say, Eric, he's a real people person, and the fact that he came on and did the interview that's on the channel, it resonated a little bit, to be fair, because if you can make that time for people, it sort of shows what type of gaffer he is. I could imagine it's great to work under him, to be honest. Got a lot of time and respect for people. He's a great guy. And like I say, we stay in contact and stuff. We still speak. Hopefully, we can do another interview after Q3 or Q4. And it's not in writing yet, but we are currently in the works of sorting up a interview with James Acuna as well, which is huge. So that'll be 2 of the biggest Ondas staff members that we've interviewed then, which is crazy. And like I say, it's crazy that when you reach out to people, man, and you just step outside your comfort zone. Like I said, this is a huge comfort zone thing for me, doing this alone. So when you step outside your comfort zones and you like I say, you push yourself, you can achieve great things. Also, would like to Wi-Fi. Yes. If he's ever coming to England, I'm taking him for a Nando's. Where do you look when you buy your stocks, Empire? How do you know who's buying a stock? How can I look if corporations are buying a stock? So obviously, you're asking a lot of good questions, man. This is good. This is what it's about, communicating, asking the questions. So if you want to look for finding new stocks, StockTwits, Twitter, the Discord server, places like that are good to find stocks. Doesn't mean that they're good stocks. If you want to look who's buying the stock, you've got CEO Watcher. which is a website. Like I say, all these are in the ebook. The ebook's in the description. You can download it for free. It costs nothing. I spent hours building it for the people to learn from. It's got a lot of data I wish I had in when I started. So you can look at CEO Watcher, and it'll show you what the CEOs are buying and selling of that company in their company. 13Fs are always good as well. Me, Will, a few of the lads, Beast, we spend a lot of time analysing these 13Fs, going through the data, showing everybody the companies that they're in, and we spend a lot of time on that. I love the 13Fs, and then you can learn where. I mean, it's sort of, you could say too late because they're already in it, but they obviously stocks that they plan on holding for a long time, institutions, big law firms, big hedge funds and stuff like that. So that's good to learn from. But how do you know when to buy? So and what was the one that I just had a look at? Simply Wall Street. Simply Wall Street is a great website to see inside a bunch. You can only do like 3 checks a week or something, and I use mine too often. I have to build loads of accounts because I ain't paying for it. But yeah, Simply Wall Street. That's also in the ebook as well. Everything you need is in that ebook, man. It's have a look and everything. Like I say, it's free. What are your opinions on Albi Marley? I don't even know what that is. Is that a stock? I'm assuming. Oh, Nvidia. Albi Marley. What's it doing on the year? It's down 13% for the year. Albi Marley stock saw a sharp midway turn, drop about 10 point following a partial recovery closing there. What do they do? Corporation manufacturing. Okay, so it's like a mining company, I guess, or something. Looks like they've had a bit of a bad year, but it looks on the 3 months that they come up, it's a lot of gaps. That's a lot of gaps. Obviously, I don't know too much on his company. Looks like it's recovering well. Like I say, a lot of the mining, batteries, stuff like that is going to be good going into the year. That's what people aren't paying attention to. People aren't paying attention to the fact that obviously all these data centers, all this stuff, what runs it? Energy, mining companies, stuff like that. They're gonna be the next thing, and I think that's why my next objective is to find one that's going to be great, or maybe even an ETF because I don't understand it as much. Just like I say, you got to accept your strengths to weaknesses, and my weakness is some of the stuff like I say, like healthcare. I don't enjoy it. Energy, I don't really enjoy it. So a lot of the lads actually do a lot of the footwork on that, and I have learned a lot. Like I say, if you ain't passionate about something, you won't be good at it. And I'm not passionate about certain sectors, so I'm not good at it. And you have to be honest with yourself. You'll be in a million soon, yeah. Hopefully, be nice, won't it? The Lambo will be getting specced and all sorts. He won't actually. I'll just hit a million and want to hit 10 after. That's a problem. It's good. Like I say, it's thinking forward in life. It's good to have a safety cushion. Like I say, some of the lads I know are starting to get involved in it. It's rewarding, and it's bad really because you have to have a big portfolio for anyone to listen to you, which is crazy. They make more people that listen to me now because I'm over 100k when they didn't listen to me because I was at 80k, and I know no more now that 100k as I did at 80k. And I don't think people should listen to anybody. I think people should take inspiration from people and ask the right questions and learn. That's the biggest thing I think people should learn. I find it hard to trim on this at the moment because I want to grow my position, so trimming it would be counterproductive. I would likely to get to 1,000 shares. However, I do feel like it would be stupid not to trim. Again, it depends on your price target. Like if your price target, Joel, was 15 off the bounce, you don't need to trim yet. But if your price target was 8, like mine was, makes sense to trim at 10 because you've already exceeded your price target. It really depends. Joel, what's your price target? If out of curiosity, and then we'll talk about. And if we hit 15, thoughts on unusual machine GMAC on a paper sensor make drone components, drone goggles, partners, and suppliers. By the way, Leo, by the way, everyone is an absolute so funny, man. He's a legend. Met every single one of us AI photos, just sits there absolutely rinsing it. What a geezer. Thoughts on unusual machine GMAC up 8% this month, makes drone components, drone goggles, partners, and supplies to Ondas and other drone makers. Don't actually know them. I have seen a lot of people. I think Beast talks about this a lot, if I'm honest. I haven't actually looked into them. I'm going to make a note about that. Should probably, because if they're supplying one of my biggest holdings, you should probably learn about it. So I don't know much about them, but I think anything to do with drones, because this is where people getting it a bit twisted as well with drones. I think it's warfare, straight off the bounce warfare, because that's all that people have seen on the news and pushed in the face. We're forgetting about agriculture, maritime. We're forgetting about everything that it was meant to be, aid, deliveries. We're forgetting about everything. The term on drones is huge. War's probably the smallest bit because what they want to do when they're in the army is they want cheap, disposable drones. That's like the Wasp. That's why if you have a look on here we go, I think it is. I get the companies mixed up with the drones. I could be incorrect with that one. It says that they're cheap drones. That's what they're supposed to be. They want cheap drones that they can dispose of that don't cost them money. Who wants to, like we say, we've seen recently in the news, they're shooting drones down with £1 million rockets. Like, it's not feasible. They want cheap drones where they cost no money. So actually the market comes from where it's protecting stuff like oil rigs, whether being used for agriculture, whether being used for medical aid, when in the disasters, when you can't get to somebody, well, what can? A drone can. So I think drones is being really looked at in a narrow mind instead of an open which why is the trend to return on a return insane? It's because actually that important in the grand scheme of things. And that's metrics to show you returns. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like I say, I'll use this one here. So this one here is more accurate. It's 316%. Because if you look at, I know what you're saying. If you look at the growth one and then you go, if I remember right, overview. Is it? Yeah. You go max. It's 2,327%. Yeah. Yeah. So I know what you're saying. That's crazy. Look, so we got this one. We got the invest one here as well. We got 15.5 in there, which is nuts. I think we started this what. So we're sitting on a couple of grand cash as well. Because like I say, I sold some shares. We're up £7 in 3 months on there. It's a lot of money, isn't it? Really, it's crazy. Can you demonstrate a stock not to invest in based on financials and business model? In regards to what, Jamie? Sorry, what is it that you want to demonstrate a stock in, not to invest in based on financials and business model? So, like I say, we did just look at that IREN and. We are looking at that, and that looks like it's promising. It looks like it's profitable. Looks like stuff like that. If you ask me a bit more specific, exactly what you want me to look at, and then I'll do that for you. Evening, lad. Mr. Carson, did you watch the game? Unfortunately, I did. Can you talk about RAP and now the revenue is down, but people aren't concerned? Can you check out about lot? Yeah, so let's look at RAP actually, because I think this is important. To be honest, I think this is a really important one to look at. I don't believe. Again, doesn't mean I'm right. I don't believe in this stock long term. I think their main mission is going to take far longer than what people think. Change isn't good to anybody really when they want it fast. These bowler wraps aren't just going to overnight just be in the UK and America and do it a bit. Yes, they might adapt in some countries, but once they've got the inventory, how much are they buying, and if it's going to cost more than what the tasers are and stuff. So I've asked more questions on this than I know what to do. So when we look at the 3-month chart, we're already up by 76%. Now, that's a lot anyway. I know we're looking at Ondas. Forget about Ondas, things like that. They're growing well too quick. We're talking about a completely different sector. This is completely different. Now, I know they do counter UAS as well, but their main market is the bowler wraps. So obviously, 76.62% up in the last 3 months. It's already ran a lot anyway. Let's have a look at some of the finances. Wrap. Share this tab. Financials. So yeah, this is what I mean. So let me get rid of this. This is what you got to look at. Is it a good trading opportunity, Wrap? Yes. Hype around it. People are constantly looking for the next best thing and looking at what to hop in at. And look at the revenue. The numbers are down year on year. 2021, 7.7 mil. I'm assuming this is millions, not billions. 2022, then we went up to 8. 23 back down to 6, 24 down to 5, trailing 12 months so far is 3.2. That's not looking great. Now, they have just opened a new factory, and obviously they have just opened, they've got the Chile order coming that they can't talk about. I know the CEO has been tweeting someone on Twitter and stuff about it. Hello, ads, 15 is a conservative one. I'll let him. Yeah, I'll come back to you in a second on that one, Joel. So, I mean, the revenue's down. It's not looking good. Should we see if we can pull up their earnings report? Let's have a look. Let's do some due diligence because I hate on this stock a bit, I think. And this is a red flag for me, by the way. If a company don't do a presentation on their earnings, instant no for me. They've got no chance of me buying into a stock if that's the case. Just looking at some of this data. Right, so let's share this tab instead. So Q3 2023 earnings is November the 12th. So you have got the earnings coming up soon, which is obviously good for you investors. Upcoming events, Q2, earnings release, earnings. Let's have a look. Earnings webcast. Thank you. Oh, it's a video. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, there we go. For the presentation. Oh, why? Perform view and download the available. Oh, there you go. That's long, isn't it? No other company does that. I'm going to type in on me. Let me pull this over to here and share this tab instead. Let me sort it out. I'll do this for you guys. Individual investor comments. Submit. Please check back soon for updates. Let me pull it up. Let's have a look for you. I'll do the due diligence that no one else does. And does it want to come through? Not in the junk. It's not. Don't look like it wants to come through. See, that's a bit of a one of them for me straight away. Why is it? Why are you gatekeeping your presentations? Please check back soon for updates. Let's just try and find it real quick because, like I say, it's important we look at them, to be honest, because I know a lot of people are starting to try and invest in it. So let's close the ebook real quick. Let's have a look. See if the presentation comes up this time. No, it just says photo box, stuff like that. Yeah. Emails are really delayed. I'll have to have a look at that presentation and come back to people. Like I say, it's not there. But when we start, let's look at it, proper look at the financials and share this time. Analysts, let's have a look at what the EPS is looking like it's going to come in at. I mean, there's just not enough data on it anywhere. Look, it's not on Yahoo Finance for an analyst or their guidance going forward. And that's probably because you have to download the presentations and stuff. Let's have a look on here instead. Share this tab. Let's have a look on here. The price to sales is 43.58. Again, we don't have to say how true this is because obviously price to book's 11.95. That's not too bad. Market cap is 140 mil. Is it still at 140 mil still? Yes, it's about right. Yeah, so the numbers are quite right. Yeah, so the market cap looks right. Employees, that's what I mean. I've only got 19 employees, and I swear I know they're opening a factory that's going to open jobs for like 120 mil or something like that. 120 mil, 120 new employees or something. Let's see if we can find that real quick. So obviously, Wrap Technologies opens new Virginia facility to scale Bowler Wrap and the counter UAS drone solutions. Now, this is the thing with the drones, what people have got to understand, man. Anybody that's starting today are 5 years behind. So to get the qualifications that they the passes that they need for it. So am I on my fast one? Oh, yeah, I'm on the fast one. So counter UAS for me, I just sort of don't even pay attention to, but it's one of them. You have to. The site looks quite big. Released on September 11th. But again, this was already priced in. People were looking at this and it didn't really move off it, to be honest. It's been moving off the volume that's coming up. So the new facility expands Wraps made in America production footprint, built to manufacture up to 23,000 Bowler Wraps, 150 devices, and more than 150,000 cassettes per month. So they can produce a lot, but it's okay producing it. Can you move it? Obviously, I do think that this will go into a lot of countries. Like say, you got Chile. I think Italy's been looking at it. I think a few other countries. Like I say, it's going to create 120 new jobs, which is good. We're moving from like what 19 employees to 139. That's good. It's a good growth and stuff. But what's the next big thing? What's next? Let's start with you. Yeah, Jake just asked what's the next biggest sector. We'll hit it bang on the head. Energy, critical earth metals, and biotech. 100%. That's going to be the next sector. Obviously, drones and stuff and AI and everything's flying now, but the next big sector is going to be energy. 100%. There's not going to be enough energy. We're going to have problems with it across the board. I think everybody will. I think that's where your next thing will be. So what do you think about the nuclear energy sector? Again, that's exactly that. I had a conversation with somebody the other day who works in that sector in the UK, and we was talking about there's going to be 2 new plants opening in the UK. But the problem is the UK, we take 15 years to do anything, so you're always a million miles behind. But energy is definitely going to be the next sector, and we've got to start looking at those stocks next. Right. So, like I said, a bowl of what we're looking at. I want to see if that email's come through because I really want to have a look at the last earnings report. It's really interesting. I don't know why it's so hard to get their earnings report. No company does it like that ever. No, just ain't coming through. I don't know why you would do it that way. But yeah, so when we're looking at a wrap, for me, there's just too many variables. $4.1 million projects through the Virginia Economy Development Partnership Program. Production. I think they can produce a lot. Let's have a look at some of these. EIS readiness. Facilities intend to assemble wraps, pattern protected 1KC Kinetic anti-drone cassette. Extending the borrower's platform into manned aerial system carriers with scalable. Made in America manufactured. Now, this is something that they're going for. You see, this is what everybody's going for. Made in America, which is going to think that they can turn American into it. I just don't see Trump going for this over tasers and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, tasers are causing deaths and stuff. I totally understand why people want this type of thing coming in. It makes sense. But we was arguing this case. Now, tell me what you think about this. In effect, if somebody shoots something at your legs and wraps it around your legs, and you don't fall with your hands and bang your head, it just makes it just as much as a problem as what you would if you were being tasered, right? I mean, you can fall and bang your head when you're tasered as well. Tell me your opinions on that. I don't understand. And then we did also say, as long as you don't get in trouble, you wouldn't be worried about this anyway, would you, sir? So yeah, like I say, it's not the purpose of the site. It's quite a big site, 20,000 square feet, innovation hub. So it's about what they do next, personally. But for me, is this going to be one that's going to blow in 6 months like Ondas? No, not at all. And do I think it's going to grow to the size of what Ondas is? No, not at all. You're probably going to see 6 to 7 on this in a couple of years, maybe. It might even come shorter. But if I was making a PT on this company from the information I know, the information I've asked Alessio about, the information I've found out in a Discord server, the information I've got to my face value, I'll be looking at the next earnings myself just to have a look in it. But do I see this being something that's going to have a 10? Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean that I'm right either. So what you meant by energy? All of it. So we're talking, you're talking nuclear energy, you're talking renewable energy, we're talking raw materials. Like I said, you joke with the raw the rare earths. I don't know too much about it. And Beast in the service, an animal with it, literally, quite ironically, he's so clued up on this, and he's been talking about these rare metals, rare materials, even for over 12 months. He's so ahead of the game than anybody else. Nuclear and defense stocks / ETFs, only one going one way. I'm heavy in them. To be fair, John's the same with his ETFs, his energy ETFs. He agrees that they're going to go there. I don't think it's a bad shout having an ETF over one individual stock, because it only takes, like I said, Trump the other night announced a contract. It only takes one person to get a certain contract, and you've missed it. But if you had the ETF, at least, I do think that an energy ETF might be a good idea. You have to speak to Will on that. He's the ETF man. He might second guess what I'm on about. So is there anything else anybody wants to look at or wants me to look at? Metrics? Is there something anyone don't understand? Is there a stock that we want to look at? Is there a certain metric more than anything? This is more about due diligence more than the stock me looking at it for you. It's more metrics. Is there anything anyone's got to look at? We're trying to look at some of these price to book as well. So I've got stuff like 4PE. I want to learn more about this wrap, to be fair. I'm really annoyed that I can't look at the presentation. It's doing amazing. I'm invested in Joby and Archer, but I think I might be early. This one was being spoken about last year a lot, to be honest. I think it was both spoken about in the Discord as well. Never really grabbed my attention. But yeah, I think a lot of people are saying that Joby and Archer and people like that were good stocks to buy into before. I've seen a few people ask about AMPX. I love it when people catch me off guard because I don't actually know about it. So let's have a look at it. Imperious Technologies. So what do they do? Manufacturing and distribution. Everybody's looking at these lithium batteries and stuff. I've seen some lads talking about this in the chat last night, and they were talking about it heavily, and I missed out on it because can you explain the difference? Yeah, 2 seconds, Timmy. I can do it. So I don't know too much about this, but in Discord, this was spoken about heavily. I've seen a lot of things that were being spoken about, but I didn't read it, if I'm honest. It was like early hours this morning. I don't know too much about it, but it looks like over the last 3 months it's doing really well. But like I said, this is again another energy stock. Oh, as usual. There you go. I try to keep up with as much as I can. I see. Yeah, I was about to say, I seen you looking at it with Beast. I think it was talking about it. So let's share this down. What's the finances looking like on it? PX. Let's have a look at the finances. And Jake, what do you mean by what is meant by float? Do you mean share float, or is that what you mean? Like how many shares are in the float? You have to be a bit more descriptive on that, please, mate. So the revenue on it, I mean, they had a massive growth last year, didn't they? Into the 24. That's huge growth. To be fair, the trailing 12 months looks like 44. That looks like it's growing massively. So again, this is what. So this again is where you have to look at the metrics, look at the finance and stuff. So cost of revenue. Obviously, the cost of revenue is going up, but naturally it's going to. But it looks like it jumped hugely last year. But did they probably put a lot of money into research and stuff? Gross profit didn't jump hugely last year compared to the year before. Operating expenses ran pretty much the same for the last 3 years. So that to me, their cost of revenue would say that they either stocked up on a lot of stock, or let's have a look, see if we can find it. Let's have a look on it as well. What is it? APMX. Like I say, sometimes this is raw looking into it, so I'm looking at it as much as you guys are. PE doesn't look like it's profitable yet, so let's have a look. Analysts are saying a lot of analysts are saying a strong buy and a buy as well, which is one of them. Yeah, they're not profitable yet, but looks like they're going to be working towards it over the next few years. 2026 is closing the gap. So this looks like a few-year play at least, to be honest. Price to book. Price to sales. Looks relatively high, but it's going to be because it's pumped like stupid percents, doesn't it? 175%. So naturally those stats are going to move up. I think some of these battery companies, energy companies, I think they'll apply, like we've said, I think they're going to be the play for the next couple of years to come. And obviously going to move closer and closer. They're not that far off being profitable, to be honest, AMPX. So to be fair, I'm going to give this one a look into. It looks interesting. So I'll have a look into this one. Let's watch this, promising stocks. So yeah, I will have a look into that because that one looks good. And this is the thing, some people see it's ran 175% and say it's too expensive. It's not profitable yet, and it's running at that. So there's a reason why it's moving like that. And like I say, some people are down here at $2 and they'd have made up to 12.90 and they'll be holding long term. These are the stocks that people are overlooking now, which they're going to wish that they got into in like 3 years to come. Let's have a look. I'll do substitutions. I've seen one up here that was. Yeah, price to sales, price to book, price to. I forgot what PC is actually, if I'm honest here. So again, you've got, like I say, you just use the tools that are right in front of you, man. Like I say, you just got to do this. A lot of this is in my ebook, so like you can just access a lot of it. So the difference is your price to book compares what the market is paying for the company versus what its net assets are worth on the balance sheet. So what that means is, if its assets are worth 100 million, but you're paying 500 million for it, but the market is paying compares what the market is paying for the company. If the market's paying nearly 500 million for this company, it's paying 5-to-1 ratio. Again, it means if the higher the price to book is, basically the more that you're actually paying for the assets that the company's even got at that current time. And like I said, the price to book -1, which is this is on the book. -1 is the market value as a company less than its assets, could be undervalued, or the market thinks assets are weak. 1 to 3, normal range for most stable companies, and obviously 10 plus, the market is paying way above the asset value. And like I say, Ondas is 500 and something. But does that mean we shouldn't buy it? Not necessarily. Price to sales tells you how much investors is paying for every pound dollar of sales for companies, good or bad. Like I say, so if you price to sales, it's market cap by annual revenue. I think we worked out Ondas's earlier as well. Can't remember what this was. We can do it now, actually. Market cap by annual revenue. So we do, we go back to here. Work on that now on this. So their market cap of the minute is 3.2 bill. So 3.24 billion, and their revenue for the year. Financials, because you do it off the trade. So 20 was 7.1 million. Because obviously you do it on a year's worth of sales. So 7.2 mil. Price to sales was the one I was looking at, wasn't it? So price to sales is 450. So like I say, when you look at this now, price to sales plus 10 getting expensive unless a company is growing very fast. Is the company growing very fast? Yes, it is. We know that because of all the acquisitions that they're doing, all the news that's coming out, so all that. So I'd say work it out. Our price to cash, that was what basically was. So just to look side when you think about the terms on the top of your head, shows how much investors are paying for every pound of cash in the company generates. It's market cap by operating cash flow. So obviously you can work those out. It's stuff that you can look at and do stuff like that. It's tab instead. So that's what we've got. Just here, have you looked at pieces price of sales? What is meant by flow? That's what I love about sitting on one of the biggest lithium plants in America. So that's exactly, if you this is what I mean about when you price targets and just sitting on them. If you're not like Jamie's saying here, like he's happy to sitting on one of the bingies. So this would be like, so if I said to him, "You're happy to hold this for 5 to 10 years?" He'd probably say yeah, which means he's getting a good investment. So Jake, what is meant by flow piece? That's total shares of what a company has got outstanding. So for instance, if the less shares that a company have got outstanding, obviously the less diluted an investor is. If I invest in a company, it's got 10 million shares and it's 10, and then all of a sudden they do a dilution and they release another 100 million shares by raising capital, I got heavily diluted from the 10 mil shares that was originally there. So obviously, naturally, the share price naturally should drop 10 to 1 to that. So obviously, I'd lose a lot of my value. But why did they dilute the shares? So obviously, it's total outstanding shares of a company is what that is. Have a decent position in stock. Have a decent position in stock. I/we Discord. Think they are a brilliant company with potential growth to 27, 28. Literally, I've decided that you can see from some of the metrics chart the bounce it looks very promising. So we'll be doing some errors into that. Hi mate, I hope you're doing well. What do you think about Power Solutions PSIX? Let's have a look. See, a lot of you are talking about energy stocks, so it's right. You're all into the right type of you're heading into the right type of dilation. Wow, look at this one. So it's up 330. Power Solutions International. So Power Solutions International designs, engineers, manufactures, markets, and sells engines and power systems in the United States of America. The company offers alternative fuel power systems for original equipment, manufacturers of highway industry equipment, and all vehicles. So yeah, especially if they're building and stuff and spending a lot of money, this one sounds like a good stock as well. So I mean, this one's had a really big run up this year. You'd have to look into the metrics on this one. Let's have a look. Step instead. What was it? PSIX. See how now we've got a PE ratio as well. Now, obviously, this is something I'm glad actually we got this one, Scott. Thank you for this one, mate. So you see how the PE ratio is 19.18, but the forward PE is 23.30. Naturally, you'd want that forward PE to be lower. That means that they're going to earn less going forward than what they already have now, which tends to be a red flag, but doesn't always mean it's the end of the world. That was a good share, that was, Scott. So thank you. So this is a good fit. So obviously, price to sales is relatively low. That's good. Price to book is slightly higher, but again, this is a growth thing that's going to be growing into. Price to cash, a bit high, but it's fine. But yeah, this is a big one here. Your price to earnings forward PE. So naturally, they think that going into this year, they'll earn less than what they did last year. And naturally, as an investor, that's not really good, is it? But how long are you planning on holding it? Is this a 3 to 5 year hold? Is this something that this year they spend a lot more and there's going to be a setback because of presidential matters or whatever, and then next year they're going to earn more, but the forward PE there being higher than the PE would naturally be a red flag that would have to be looked into. How do you look at exit prices? So exit prices for me, like I said, I work out my exit prices on a basis of going through the CEO, the financials, the insider info, the news, the forward vision, and then I'll make a PT. if I have a PT like I did on Ondas of 8, once we get to 8, which we've now got to 10, I trim a little bit because now I've reevaluated 8 and realised that we're going to be going a lot further. So when I set my price target for 8, I could have sold everything at 8 and I would have been more than happy with the gains that I made. But when we got there, I realised that there's a lot more to grow into here. And that's what you have to do. You have to reevaluate all the details that you did to make the original price target and see if we're going to be able to get more out of this. And obviously, don't be afraid to trim some of the shares. You've made your profit. Some people get too greedy and get burnt as well. So public float is how much is available to public trade. I'll go in at 7 for APMX. I think you should dive into Joe's specialist batteries for Joe's. Yeah, definitely going to have a look into that one. To be honest, I like the look of it. PX, and what do you get in at 7? Laughing, and then you really like. So, what's your price target on that, Jamie? If you don't mind me asking, where are you looking at for that? What's your due diligence pointing towards for you to have an exit price on this, and what is your hold on it? I'll be having a look at APMX, I reckon. Jamie, if you don't mind me asking, have you got PT in mind for APMX before I have a look? So obviously, I can't give. Oh, you want it? Yeah, asking over Jamie, not me. That's good. I was about to say, yeah, that's. I'm interested too. Always interested to hear people's targets. Do you have a price target for ONS? Yes, I do. Mine is now 20. I will actually trim some more 15 because we've trimmed a little with 1,000 shares at 10. We've trimmed a little bit more at 15, probably another 1,000 shares. Probably trim a little bit more at 20. So that's my price target so far. $30 UPT. There we go. So we use it 7, and you think it's going to go to 30 from your due diligence. Now that's optimistic, which means that you've looked at stuff, you've seen something that you've liked. So obviously, naturally, you're gonna end up down that corridor. So that'll be one I'll look into, Jeremy, for sure. Are there any other stocks that anybody wants to look at, or any other metrics that people are interested in, or anything that we want to have a look at? So I hope you see it. Yeah, like I say, it does look good that it's on Purist Technologies. So the numbers are moving in the right way. Let's see if we can find any reports for it. IP. What's the stock ticker again? IMPX. Investor. Let's have a look, see if you invested. See, this is what was on something I was about to say. Why are some of these companies like this? Why do you have to sign in? Please fit these up on download available apps. Why do they do that? Is that so they can get your details, so they can email you a load of nonsense that you don't care about? Let's have a look. Oh no, it gives it me after I put my details in. Of course it does. So I'm pressed. So let's have a little look at this because I'm quite interested on this. So the people that are here might be interested in it as well. So we can have a look at some due diligence here on this. So Empress Technologies, Empress Pioneer developer manufacturing high energy density and high powerful density silicon on them. What about lithium-ion batteries? Founded in 2008, fully operational in 2010. That's good. It means it's been around. It's established. So this would be good for somebody who knows what they're on about with batteries. This would be something new to me. So let's have a look. 6 minutes to do an 8% charge on the battery. That's fast. Past military performance spec now, penetration test. That's good. This is a good one because it means that they can sustain. Remember to like the stream, guys. If you've learned something, I want to support you. Yeah, definitely drop the stream a like if you've learned even anything or absolutely anything. Like I said, we are still quite new to these streams, so we're trying to offer as much information as possible and trying to help out as much as possible. This temperature thing for the batteries is huge, to be honest. Production of cells since 2009. So you look, 4.6x year-on-year revenue. That's good. Over 320 customers, which means that they've got a lot of customers, which is good. Strong patents, 80 plus patents. This company's looking really good, actually, to be fair. Which just would have been flagged a little bit earlier. This is looking like a solid business, to be fair. I love these presentations. I love going through them. They're easy to go through. They're good to any mindset. Is good. Just drop this text. Like I say, so 86% international shipments, which means they do a lot of international shipping, which is good. Revenues up. So they've got manufacturing in South Korea as well. Secured 15 million purchase order from leading US manufacturer. That's a big contract, 15 million. When you look back at their, like I say, February 25th, when you look back at stuff like, what was it? PX. When you look back at their revenues and stuff, and you look at their finances, so we've picked up a lot. We've picked up 15 million. So that's a huge chunk of where there is even at. So that's huge. They're the little details you got to look for. You got to pay attention to those little details, man. They matter. So look at some more of these details. I hope that people are like say getting something from this. If there's anything that I could touch upon, let me know as well. What's taking us 10x capacity for graphite? Stuff I don't really understand, so I have to come back to. Just twice measured time charts. I know, but the highest energy and power batteries. Some of this stuff I'd have to deep dive and look into, which I'm going to have a look into because it's very complex stuff. Yeah, to be fair, I'm glad you flagged this stock. I will definitely be doing some due diligence in it. Like Jordan said as well, don't forget to like the stream if you've enjoyed it or if you've picked something up from it at the very least. What time we're getting on? So yeah, so we're probably going to close it off in about 5 minutes or so anyway. And I've been on for a while. I lost track of time. Is there anything else anybody else wants to ask beforehand? MVST. Now, Adzi, if you're in this one, have a look at this one inside the server because I know a lot of people used to be in this. Brad and a lot of the other lads used to do a lot of due diligence on it. So if you just search on the Discord, you're going to get tons of information. Is there anything else anybody else wants to touch upon? Anything that want to have a look at? Flag any stocks that want to look at? I like to look at this one. I'm going to have a good look at this after. Safety. Try and get an interview with the CEO. It's going to be the thing now. I'm going to try and just interview as many CEOs as possible. Just try and get my knowledge up. Where does everyone think that the futures are going to be at 11? Do we think where do we think they're going to be? Like I say, I've got to look for a new stock that I want to invest in capital in. We've freed up 7.5 grand from some of the on-desk profits. I'm going to start looking at some of that. Where do we think the futures are going to be? Let's have a look where we finished off on Friday. Let's have a look. See where we ended up. Let's get rid of that. So, like I said, small caps were taking a lot of the gain. Obviously, these are Friday's numbers. So, SEC was slightly down, 500 was slightly down, US 30 was up. FTSE 100, I haven't been following the FTSE to be fair much since I come out of my dividend stocks. It looks like it was up a little bit, and the VIX was down. How are we looking on the fear and greed? Just under the greed. I'm thinking small red. To be fair, most Sundays start off a little bit red, and I end up going green. So, whatever name I like. It'd be interesting to see where it goes for sure. So look at this S&P 500 10 moving average, 100 moving average. It's crazy how much the S&P has been running lately. To be honest, it's crazy. It's mad that in April the S&P 500 was at 5,062, and there it's up here. Just even if people would have bought the S&P 500 in April, like heavily, and made bank. Like it literally, I feel like it was impossible this year not to make. Yeah, I agree. I'm pretty surprised. I thought it would have been greed, to be honest. I thought it would have been more greed. Stop price breadth. Put and call options, extremely greedy. Yeah, this is crazy. The amount of options and puts we're seeing coming in at the moment is nuts. I'm gonna touch on that quickly before we finish on stuff like that, and I want to show some of the on-desk ones. See if I can show this screen. Yeah, let's have a look at this. Was looking at some of these put calls and stuff. I was doing a lot of it into Nebius, Dragonfly, Wrap. On DAS, for instance, the volume on Friday was 216,000 contracts. 30-day average is 109,000 a day. Means we doubled up on DAS. So do you think the Christmas one is going to be cancelled this year? Let's have a look. Doing a great job going out to DGG is really valuable, especially for people like me who's only been investing for 3 months. Thanks, Leo. I appreciate that, mate. It's massive. Like I say, I try to touch on whatever. It's hard, really, when you're trying to communicate and do it because I like to sit here, play some music, and just deep dive for hours. So it's hard to keep on to where I am when you're locking. I've had a few puts on there. I've got a few puts on there for James 27. I don't blame it really. The market's running and running and running. Eventually, some stuff's got to slow down somewhere. I hope there is a fallback because I want to accumulate more. I mean, I don't. I hope you lose your money. I hope it just keeps running. But no, like I say, at some point it's got to slow down, or we've got to do something. I think the pull and call options at the moment is crazy. I think the Christmas one is going to be cancelled this year. No, I don't think so. I think I literally, if you have a look in the Discord chat, I posted it in the chat and the video that I did recently about emotions. I literally was preaching in April that Q3, Q4 would be the biggest quarters. I didn't expect us to bounce back this quick, nowhere near this quick at all. So I might eat my words, but I do think Q3, Q4 will be massive. I think some stocks, personally, AMD, I think will struggle in Q3. I think they're going to have had a bad Q3, but I think Q4 they'll do good. I think a few of the other stocks might, but I think there's going to be some really good earnings Q3, Q4. Interesting. I'm one of the few people had puts. Yeah, that's true, man. I don't hear anybody talk about having puts on the options or calls. And when we see here, this is on that is look at the put ratio to call. Obviously, the volume puts call ratio is 0.28. So low. I mean, like I said, that means basically every 3.5 calls, there's one put. And the open interest is 769,000 open contracts on that is mad. That's so much. I mean, look at this is where we start looking at the strikes. Look at the 10 strike. You got 41.69 thousand. I don't know why I said like 41,690,000 calls at 10. That's a lot of volume, man. And this is what I mean. We're only at 9.99 now, and this is going forward over everything. So a lot of people think we're going to hit 10. I don't want to hit 10 and break even. And obviously that might not even be with the premiums. That might be, I'm thinking that might even be the 10 strike price premium. So they're looking at 11 plus. And this is this type of stuff you have to really have a look at, because obviously if people 41,000 people, then you got 9.5, and 9. So we're looking nearly 100,000 calls there in that top ratio bracket of where we are. Those people aren't going to want to make a dollar. I just think these type of people are seeing a lot more growth, obviously. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, and then obviously you got the puts on the 9.5s as well. You got 12,000 out, reasonable amount, but we're eating through that, so I ain't worried. As a total, no 1 week, and thanks for the time. Yeah, Victor, I appreciate it, man. That's what I mean. I just don't fucking help people. That's why I try and do the ebooks for free. I don't charge people. I don't sell courses. Don't do all that. Yeah, we put a little charge on a Discord, but it's mainly for a security thing more than anything, and people understand it. And that's why it's $4.99 and not $49.99 for a month for something like some people. It's literally cheaper than a Mackey's meal. Dear, no, worth a shout. Only got 5% of my points and only 5% in gold, and that's all the hedging I got. I don't blame it, man. I understand why people would take some risk onto the puts, because people are going to feel like it's got to slow down. But if it's going to slow down in any sector, it's going to slow down in Q1. Q1 is naturally the slowest quarter of the year, obviously after Christmas, etc. Depends on what sector it is. Jordan, as always, can't wait for earnings. Yeah, I am so buzzed for earnings. It's such a good time to be an investor in earnings, man. I hate it when it's quite boring, really, for the rest of the year. Ondas makes it exciting because they release news at least like 3 times a week. But yeah, on a basis, earnings is just, I love how everyone comes together as well and just goes off on it, man. It's exciting, man. Yeah, literally like seeing your team cup final. Me and Brad have been watching BBAI earnings now. That's like, yeah. Every time it's disappointing. We go in we both don't own shares now. We both left up. But we go in earnings and we're like, yeah, this is going to be the quarter J, or Brad, where it's going to be good. Yeah, nah. Every time it's terrible. Stock's surely going to keep running. Why would they slow down? Yeah, I don't believe they're going to slow down now. I mean, eventually they're going to obviously try to balance out. But yeah, you're right. I don't think there's any slowing down, especially with Trump in charge as well. Depends on what happens after his term. It's going to be different then. talking about the market and stuff. He's a market man. It depends who comes in next. Depends what happens next. That's going to be it's going to be one of them things. Only I think only thing that slows them down is worries of ROI. Scott innovation will continue as it is. It's just a question of what's that. Like I say, it's about branching into the sectors. AI has ran like crazy. So you got your Palantirs, you got your Oracles, your people like that. They're the AIs going crazy. But what they're going to need next is going to need compute. So who's your compute? Your Nvidias, your AMDs. They're going to be compute. Now you need energy. So now you need data centers. So you can be data centers where you've got Nebius, you've got CoreWeave. You've got Iran looking like they're coming through as the trio one. You've got a couple of data centers. Well, now what do you need for data centers? They need energy. So now we've got to start looking at rare earth. We're going to look at energy. And I think everybody's ticked every box. And I think, well, quite clearly, quite a few of you are sleeping on the energy side of things. And I think that's what everybody needs to start focusing more towards next, which I'm going to be doing a deep dive. Now, obviously, earlier, sorry, you heard me say, I don't know if it's going to show it as good on here as what it did on. Yeah, it's not. So this diagram here is what the big buys and sells are. Of it's better viewed on mobile. This 30.27% and this 27.88% was institutions that sold. So 27 point, and that was institutions that bought, by the way. So obviously there were 3% up on institutional buys on Friday. These two little groups here, so the tiny little spaces, a 7.69 and a 5.67. Oh no, ignore that. Sorry, the 8.45 and a 7. That was retail. 8.45% of retail sold, but 7.69% of retail bought. So a little bit of retail came out on Friday, which was obvious. It was Friday. Retail like to sell, and obviously people like to take profit when it's run that much. But institutions were buying in more. Always a good sign. So this question, I had a dip. Sorry, I had a question, but I had to dip for us. What is the importance of EBITDA? EBITDA is obviously important because it's just as so. Yeah, let's see if we can get you a better display. It's hard for me to if I minimize that. That keeps it there. So. So EBITDA is it's literally so. I'm going to give you a better explanation of it. What it is. So it's a pure operating performance that investors see a profitable business model is before debt. Yeah, that's what it is. So it's obviously the total income that came in, the profit before the takeaway debt, tax tricks, or accumulating methods. So it's actual true figure of EPS, they say. So that's what some companies measure it before, some measure after it. Like, but a true EPS figure is after EBITDA. Just looking in Ben's chat and see what's going on there. A couple of messages coming through. Let's have a look. Did you just compliment Iran? I can't believe it. To be fair, it's you're right, Scott. To be honest, that's what I mean. Sometimes people like to again because I'm in Nebius. You gotta talk a bit of crap on the you gotta talk a bit of crap on the other ones. But Iran's running, man. Do I think it'll be as big as Nebius? No. Do I think it's gonna be that? But yeah, I think the problem is with Iran's, it's gonna have to dilute at some point. I don't know the ins and outs, so I can't talk about the finances. But I mean, I don't know what their cash on allocation is. Should we see if we can find that real quick? I don't know how much cash they've got. You got to remember people at Nebius and stuff. They have billions at disposal. They've got ClickHouse on their asset sheet. They got Taloka. They had. God, it just keeps going on, doesn't it? They've got loads. So financials. Let's see what the free cash flow is on the balance sheet. Total assets, net debt, shares, ordinary. Working capital, invested capital, total debt, tangible. Cash flow. That'll probably help, wouldn't it? Operating cash flow, invested cash flow, and cash position. So yeah, so they had 564 million on a trailing 12-month. So it's not bad. They've got quite a lot of cash actually, to be fair, Scott, but no one knows Nebius. But these things, like I say, I do think there's a dilution coming soon, and it totally makes sense to do it at the price that they're at, right? I mean, getting most bang for your buck. I mean, Nebius did the same thing. They did some warrants that they issued, so it makes total sense for them to do it. I think, like I said, this is the time where a lot of people are doing dilutions, and it makes sense because the companies are growing. So it makes total sense to do the dilutions. We'll still chilling. Do I do options? I do. Yeah, I'm transparent with everyone. Let me show you. Let me show you what I do. Now, show you my Robin Hood. Right, let me come back into this. All right, so this is my hood account. I started right. So this is my hood account. Now, what calls have I got? I got wrap calls. Simply two reasons. Do I believe in the company as an investment? Nah. Do I believe the company is going to hype? Yep. I will always be transparent. So I did this again. This is my test. So I just put a couple £100 in. I've been running with it and testing it. Totally up by $72. I got wrap being at, like I said to you, in a couple of years. I think it's going to be at 6 or 7. I don't think it goes any further than that. I got it break even price at 350 for the 17th of April 26. What I think is going to be about 4 or something. I'll make a little profit on it. Not that bothered about it. Like so, I try to be as transparent as possible. I'm going to hide from anything I invest in, wins, losses, and all of that. But yeah, I do a bit of options. I enjoy it. I think it's cool. It is actually like long term investing. It gives you more exposure. Like say, one contract is 100 shares. So it, like say, I've got 6 contracts. I've effectively got 600 shares of wrap. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Do you think it's a good? Do you think it's a good time to buy on? I can't tell anybody when it's a good time to buy a stock. If you're asking, am I still buying ons? I was buying ons at 9 still. I have stopped buying now. A lot of the lads were buying at 9.50, still buying. The reason I've stopped buying now is because I've accumulated so many shares. I've now got enough shares, so I'm not buying anymore. Would I still be buying at this price? Yes, if I didn't have as many shares as I did, but I accumulated quickly and at lower. I was buying at 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bought some just under 9 was the last bought that I did. I've got a bit of a funny thing I do with Beast. Every time good news comes out, I'll buy some after the news has come out. It just makes it a little bit funny, but we've all got a lot of conviction in it, to be honest. So, like I say, my price target's 20. So would I still be buying some? Yeah. If your price target exceeds where the share price is, surely you'd buy all the way up. So it naturally depends on where do you see the stock going. If you see it going to 20, then it's a buy. If you see it going to 12, probably not a buy because it's already at 10. If you only see it coming back down to 8, it's definitely not a buy. So thanks for your time, Stephen. Jamie, loads of stuff. Keep smashing it. I appreciate it. I hope people did learn some good stuff. Like I say, still quite new to this live stream stuff. It's the second one. Normally just sit here typing around the Discord or not. Instead, it's easier sending voice notes to people. So it is new. I am trying to help people. Like I say, we don't sell courses. We don't sell ebooks. We don't do that. We just give out as much information. I remember before when I didn't have all the network that we've built and stuff like that. It's a dark thing to do, and it's very confusing when you don't understand it. So if they don't, I will be. To be fair, Scott, from looking what it was, if they ended up actually diluting and going further down, I'd probably end up getting a couple of shares myself. I don't want to be too overexposed to it. Like I say, the energy shares there now. We like to joke about it and stuff, but it is performing quite well. It does really depend on how they keep getting Greenland sites and how they keep expanding. That's the big key to these data center plays because everyone's saying it. It's about growth. Got to keep growing and keep getting more sites and doing it because once you exceed your compute limit, you're stagnant then. So it's very important. Have we missed the boat on Ondas? I have a small start, but tempted to go heavy tomorrow. Missing the boat, man. It's like saying I don't feel so because I feel like it's got more to go. But does it mean it's going to be more to go? Absolutely not. When we look back at stuff like this, Chris, so I know you're saying it now, so let's have a look quickly back at Weeble. Window. Where did that go? Let's load it back up. Right, let's load this back up. So when you're saying if we missed the boat, so these guys are buying calls at 10 and 9.5, which means that they think that the strike price, so it's got to be strike price plus premium. So let's say the premium on this is probably $1. So it means that the stock. So it means the stock's got to go above 11 before they make any money. That's a break-even price. Obviously, they get their money off the beating expiry date, etc. But we're talking just facts of strike price. But these guys think it's going to run a lot further. Do I think it's going to run a lot further? Absolutely. Look at the share price where it is, and we're not even nowhere near where we need to be. We've got Green UAS to come yet, which we're all waiting for, and we think it's going to be any time now. We've got obviously all the acquisitions. We've got Ondas Capital to even do anything yet, which is going to be really released into Q3, Q4. I'll be interested to ask James a lot of questions about that when I interview him, which I've got to sort out tomorrow. I've got to get on that. I just think there's a lot more to come, man. Honestly, making some great decisions. There are investments that they've done as well. If you look at some of the investments they've bought into, their share prices and their earnings are doing really good, which means the revenue is going to be really good. I think for the year, Ondas's revenue is definitely going to they're going to have to up the guidance 100% because they're just going to have too much. They're going to well overshoot otherwise. And people are saying next year they can make like 150 million revenue, which is like 10x. So have we missed the boat? Me personally, no, but that's just my opinion. Can't really give you advice on what to do. Do we use Robinhood or Webull? I use Webull recently. I'm looking at this. Will said they use it. I do use Hood for my options. I think trading 212 is so much better for investing. Will and that agree as well. It's gamified, it's gamer mode. It is. It really is. I think it's good for investing. Robinhood for investing, I don't like it. I think it's tacky personally. But when it comes to the options, that it literally so well laid out and so easy to understand. So I like it. I haven't used Webull. I probably will at some point, but I like Hood for options. I like trading 212 for investing. I love doing puts there, like 20% below current price. Great hedge in a crash. Yeah, you're right, but you've got to have the crash. I mean, if you're using an and you had a load of puts beforehand, yeah, you're laughing. But if it just keeps rising, you're gonna get liquidated. Like, you know what I mean? It's not good for you if it's gonna keep running. But only a couple of percent point. Yeah, like I say, man, investing's a big risk anyway. That's the way to say. Everyone says you risk your own capital, etc., etc. Um, I mean, fair play if you're doing a puts, and I hope it works out for you. But you are going against the going against everything because I mean, what is it that you actually buying puts in? I don't know if you said that above. What is it that you're buying puts in? What is it that you're interested in? What you're doing? I know you said 2027, but what is it that you actually think is going to pull back so much? Is it lots of companies? Is it only a few companies? What is it that we're looking at? Let me know on that because that'll be interesting. Because I mean, even on like say you're looking at your Nebius, the premiums on this were crazy when I was looking at these. But look at the calls on it: 130 strike price, 17,000, maybe 18,000 calls. Next to no puts. Even this, look, I ain't got none. Dragonfly. Look at the call to puts. This is the latest one. 10 strike price calls. Somebody obviously knew something about that. Look at the perfect amount of calls that I wrote out on both of that. If that don't look suspicious, I don't know what does. Wrap calls, 3 calls. I mean, like a lot less volume on this. I'm part of that. That's part of me. So, I'll see you lads. I'll do some bits and bobs. Solid stream, Joe. No one would know. It's only your second one first. So I appreciate that, Will. Legend, man. Appreciate your help as well. Coming to run the chat and stuff, mate. Thank you very much. When we're looking at Robinhood as well, look at the Robinhood calls on 150 strike price. That is crazy. 100,000 calls at 150 strike price. That's a lot, man. Where are we sitting at 140? Well, I'm sitting at 148 on it. Obviously, that was a close on Friday. I mean, what time are we on now? So we get the thingies soon. Yeah, I think it's definitely not put season, but I do put some triple Q and also a couple single stocks that I made a lot of profit on. Oh, fair play, man. I mean, you obviously done your due diligence to say why you wanted to do that, so it makes complete sense. But I mean, I'm assuming you ain't doing it against Hood and stuff like that. I've got some long calls on Iron too. Yeah, to be fair, I haven't looked at Iron ones. Let's have a look at what the calls are looking like on Iron. To be fair, the 50 strike price calls. This is what I mean, man. Look at the volume on everything for calls. It's crazy. It's absolutely mental. I didn't realize it was this heavy. To be fair, SoFi calls. Ooh, look at those puts on 25. That's why they try and force stuff down as well. This is what people don't understand when people are forcing stuff. This is the market makers, and people remember this is hedge funds. This is anybody. It's not necessarily just retail. This is hedge funds and institutions. Look at that. No, 66,000 puts 25, but nowhere else. It's being pushed towards 25. Do you pay for this Webull? Yeah, I think it's like a couple quid, man. It's really cheap. To be fair, that's why I couldn't even tell you how much it is. It's that cheap, because I just bought it. So, but yeah, I like looking at this. I think it's quite. I love numbers, so I think it's easy to understand once you've, like I said, once you don't understand something, you just crop it, put it into ChatGPT, gives you a rundown, and then after you're laughing because you understand it. And once you do it a couple of times, you just come second nature, doesn't it? Like I say, guys, if you have enjoyed it as well, don't forget to leave a like and stuff below. Webull is very cheap for buying options, literally 0 days. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna probably move over to it because I do like the way it's laid out. It does look good, and like I say, I like the order books. Obviously, it's not open at the minute, but the order book level 2 on Weeble, which is what you get when you pay for it, it's so good to watch. It's good. I enjoy it. What was I looking at? This so far though, I've just like I said, this is what I mean. This is why it's good when we're doing this blind DD because the calls there to rare puts is that's crazy. That's very looks very manipulative. That does if that hits 25 and these puts start hitting, that is going to drop that a lot. Somebody said to me in the chat the other day it's going to drop to 21. I didn't really feel it, but that's a lot of that's a big put wall. That is huge. Definitely something to worry about. Watch. So I'm going to just drop screenshot that into the Discord. Just going to pop that in now because that's interesting. Yeah, I seen Aiden said 21, so I'm just loading up the Discord now because that's a lot of puts. That is. People probably didn't know about that. Yeah, I'll just put that in there. So, like I said, it's why due diligence is important. Why you're always important to look into all of your into all your stocks constantly and stuff like this. This is why, again, so we'll touch on that actually. So this is why it's important not to hold too many stocks. I see some people holding crazy amount of stocks. Realistically, you want 5 or 6 growth stocks if you're in growth and into ETFs. 5 or 6 growth stocks and a couple of 2 ETFs. Really, you don't. If you've got 20 stocks, how are you keeping up with all this information? You ain't keeping up with it all. To be fair, as well, on a basis of IREN, it looks like 19.99% of institutions were selling it on Friday, but 26.52% of institutions were loading up, which is good. That's good for holders of IREN. But I can't believe it's a 50 to be fair. It's had a really good run. Can't knock it, to be honest. BBAI is another one. Look at how heavily manipulated that is as well. I love this stock. I put so much time into it, and I've seen it go in great places, but the earnings are terrible. How are we going to have terrible earnings and then have loads of calls at 7 strike price? Somebody knows something to do that because the earnings have been terrible. The next earnings coming out saying I'll be watching it, and I'll be very surprised if we stay in this region. But it creates a call wall, so it does protect it a little bit. But not a lot of puts. The put to call ratio is 2.26 as well. It's crazy. I don't know. I don't understand it, to be honest. If I'm honest. Because realistically, after every earnings is plummeted, so you'd be short in it, surely. You can make and lose a lot of money from options. It's fun to play with. Yeah, you can. It's like I say, the thing I don't like is I think options would be so much more sought for if it was in the ISAs. I think if we had options in ISAs, it'd be well more sought after. And people would, like I say, want a lot more. Because obviously the tax side of it is just very complicated and stuff, isn't it? Yeah, so I think we might end up calling it that. I hope everybody's had a good evening, and I hope everybody's learned some stuff. Might start trying to make it a bit more of a regular thing where I do these, get a little bit better at it. Like I say, still relatively new to live streaming, so I'm still learning. If there is more things you want me to touch on in the future, or anything that you are looking at me looking into and explaining, I'm happy to do it. So what we're here for, we're here to help people grow, here to help people get better. Like I said, don't forget to like the video if you haven't liked it. Helps out massively. I think that's just it. They don't want a tax-free account to multiply too much. It makes total sense. Imagine if the options were in the ISA, you'd be crazy, it'd be criminal. But I think a lot of people have been losing money as well because people think as well with options that it's very short term. It's not. You want longer expiry dates, really. You want to give yourself as much breathing room as possible. Joel, thank you very much, mate. I appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate you taking 2 hours out of your evening on a Sunday night to learn something, and it matters because obviously this is where we pick some stuff up. Lewis, how do you say it? Mate, I appreciate you tuning in as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a good rest of your evening.